Every single person on this planet gets 24 hours in a day, no more, no less. Yet some people seem to build empires, create art, lead nations, and change lives within those same 24 hours. Others, however, struggle to make it through the day without feeling lost or overwhelmed. The difference isn't the clock. The difference is how they treat time. Time is the single most valuable resource in existence. You can lose money and earn it back. You can lose strength and rebuild it. You can lose relationships and repair them. But once time is gone, it's gone forever. Every second that passes becomes part of your past, a chapter that can never be rewritten. The greatest illusion of the modern age is that we have time. We don't. We only use it, wisely or carelessly. Successful people understand this truth deeply. They don't just manage time, they respect it. They treat time as a sacred currency, something too precious to waste on meaningless activities, people, or distractions. Unsuccessful people, on the other hand, treat time as if it's unlimited. They scroll, procrastinate, complain, and wait for the right moment. But the right moment never arrives, because the moment you have now is the right moment. Time doesn't wait. It doesn't pause for you to get ready, or to feel motivated, or to feel confident. It keeps moving, whether you act or not. So, the real question isn't, do I have time? It's, what am I doing with the time I have left? Because every second that slips away is a piece of your potential that goes with it. Successful people are time investors, not time spenders. They don't just fill their days with tasks. They fill their days with purpose. They understand that productivity is not about being busy. It's about being intentional. They schedule their days around their priorities, not their impulses. Every hour has a reason. Every action connects to a goal. They don't start the day wondering what to do. They already know. Their plans are clear, their focus sharp. That doesn't mean they're robots or workaholics. In fact, they rest deliberately, too. But even rest has purpose. It's a tool for recovery, not escape. The average person wakes up and checks their phone, notifications, messages, random distractions, instantly handing control of their attention to the world. Successful people wake up with clarity. They protect their focus like a warrior protects their weapon. They know attention is the entry point to time. Wherever your attention goes, your time follows. If your attention is fractured, your life will be fragmented. If your attention is directed, your life will be designed. That's why they build systems, not moods. They don't rely on how they feel to decide what to do. Feelings are temporary. Systems are stable. They plan their days in advance, block distractions, and create routines that support progress automatically. Every minute has meaning. Every task has a timeline. And when things go wrong, which they always do, they adapt, not react. Because reacting wastes time, adapting uses it. Most people waste hours every week in decision fatigue, trying to figure out what to wear, what to eat, what to do next. Successful people eliminate that chaos by simplifying their lives. They automate the small things to preserve energy for big things. Mark Zuckerberg wears the same style of clothes. Steve Jobs did the same, not because they lack creativity, but because they protect their decision bandwidth. Every unnecessary choice steals mental energy that could be spent on creation, strategy, or learning. Successful people value their time so much that they create an environment where wasting it becomes impossible. They set boundaries with people, with devices, with habits. They say no more than they say yes, because every yes is time leaving your life forever. They are not rude. They are ruthless with their priorities. And that ruthlessness is not selfishness. It's awareness. They understand that saying yes to everything is another way of saying no to excellence. Your attention is the currency of the 21st century. Everything around you, apps, ads, notifications, social media, is designed to steal it. But successful people treat attention like oxygen. They don't give it away freely. They guard it, train it, use it, because the quality of your attention determines the quality of your results. Time management is not just about calendars or planners. It's about attention management. You can't manage time if you can't manage focus. The truth is, most people aren't out of time. They're out of attention. Their minds are scattered across 100 distractions, leaving nothing left for what truly matters. To win with time, you must first reclaim your focus. That starts by learning the art of saying no. Say no to gossip. Say no to mindless scrolling. Say no to excuses. Say no to unnecessary drama. Every no you say to the trivial is a yes to the meaningful. Time freedom is not about doing nothing. It's about doing what matters most without interruption. Successful people don't chase balance. They chase alignment. Balance is about doing everything. Alignment is about doing the right things. When your actions align with your goals, time multiplies in value. Every hour you spend contributes directly to your mission. That's when progress feels effortless. Not because life got easier, but because you removed the friction of distraction. To achieve that, successful people use compound focus. Just like money compounds when you invest it consistently, focus compounds when you apply it daily. One focused hour today builds on yesterday's focused hour. Over weeks, months, and years, that momentum becomes unstoppable. That's how big results are built. Not in bursts of effort, but in consistent, focused execution over time. The average person quits too early because they expect immediate reward. Successful people play the long game. They understand that time rewards the disciplined, not the distracted. They plant seeds every day, knowing some will grow next month, some next year, and some will change their entire future. They're not racing the clock. They're working with it. They respect its pace, but they never waste its presence. That's why the successful are calm under pressure. They don't panic when things take longer than expected. They know that time is not the enemy. Time is the ally of those who use it wisely. Every day, the clock gives you 24 blank hours. What you write in them defines your life. Some people fill them with noise. Others fill them with progress. Some let others decide how their time will be used. Others design every hour intentionally. The difference shows not in a week, not in a month, but in years. Years later, one person will look back and say, "I wish I had used my time better." The other will smile and say, "I used every minute like it mattered," because it did. That's the power of time awareness. The goal isn't to be busy every second. The goal is to be awake every second. To realize that time isn't just passing. It's your life passing. Every conversation, every habit, every choice. They are all transactions in the marketplace of time. You are constantly trading moments of your life for something. For entertainment, for learning, for progress, for comfort. The question is, are you getting a good return on your trade? Because you can't buy time back. Once spent, it's gone forever. Motivation is overrated. It's a spark, not a strategy. You can't rely on feeling inspired every day to get things done, because feelings are unstable. They shift with weather, mood, or comfort. Successful people know this. They don't depend on motivation. They depend on systems. A system is a structure that turns discipline into default. It removes the need for constant decision-making. When you have systems, your success is not based on emotion. It's based on execution. You don't need to ask, "Do I feel like working?" You just work. You don't need to debate, "Should I go to the gym?" You go. You don't negotiate with laziness. You override it. That's the power of system-based living. Motivation gets you started. Systems keep you going. Discipline builds what motivation can only imagine. When you create a system, a routine, a schedule, a checklist, you take willpower out of the equation. You no longer depend on fragile bursts of energy. You build habits that operate automatically. And that automation is freedom, not restriction. People think discipline is a cage. In reality, it's a key that unlocks time, freedom, confidence, and consistency. Successful people design their days with intentional repetition. They don't wake up hoping for a productive day. They create one. They start the morning with rituals that signal the mind. It's time to perform. It might be meditation, journaling, stretching, or reviewing goals. Whatever triggers focus and energy, because the brain loves routine. When it knows what comes next, it works more efficiently. This is why successful people often live predictable mornings and powerful evenings. The first hour and last hour of the day shape everything in between. The morning is where momentum begins. The evening is where reflection and reset happen. During the day, they structure their tasks around priorities. not preferences. They identify the one thing that matters most and protect it. That means no multitasking, no endless notifications, no reacting to every ping or message. They focus on deep work, long, uninterrupted periods where full concentration is applied to meaningful goals. This deep work is where breakthroughs happen. In contrast, average performers live in shallow work, endless context switching, checking, and half-finished tasks. They confuse activity with progress. Successful people know better. They measure results, not hours. You can spend 10 hours busy or 3 hours productive. The outcome depends on how you manage attention. They use time blocks, segments of pure focus, where nothing else exists. They treat that block like an appointment with destiny. Non-negotiable. No distractions. No just a minute interruptions. Because every time you get distracted, you lose more than seconds, you lose momentum. It takes minutes to regain deep focus after a single break in attention. And when that happens dozens of times a day, the cost is massive. That's why successful people protect focus like treasure. They turn off notifications. They set clear boundaries. They create physical and digital environments that reduce temptation. They understand that self-discipline isn't about being strong every second. It's about being smart in how you design your environment. If you have to resist temptation all day, you'll lose. If you remove temptation entirely, you'll win automatically. That's why structure beats willpower. Willpower is temporary. Structure is permanent. Systems create rhythm. Rhythm creates results. Once rhythm is established, effort feels lighter because habits handle the heavy lifting. You're no longer fighting to start. You're simply continuing what's already in motion. That's why successful people are consistent. Not because they're superhuman, but because they've made success automatic. They've turned effort into instinct. They also understand the power of feedback loops. They don't just act, they measure. They track progress, review performance, adjust course. This is how they stay on path without burning out or drifting off. For example, after every week they reflect, what worked? What didn't? What needs to change? This reflection ensures that their systems evolve with them. They don't stick to a plan just for pride. They improve it for progress. Because rigidity kills growth. Flexibility within discipline keeps systems alive. Even with structure, they know when to rest. Rest is part of the system, not a break from it. They rest to recover, not to escape. That's why their energy feels consistent while others fluctuate. They respect their body and mind as tools of execution. Both need care, not neglect. When you design a system around performance, you automatically design one around recovery. Because a burnout performer is a broken system. Successful people sleep enough, eat strategically, move daily, and take pauses intentionally. They know burnout doesn't come from working hard. It comes from working without rhythm. Rest, reflection, and focus. These are the pillars of sustainable success. The goal is not to work endlessly, but to work intelligently, to create a life where effort and rest exist in harmony, both serving purpose. They also understand that habits compound like interest. One small positive habit, repeated daily, has an exponential effect over time. 5 minutes of reading per day turns into books read per year. 10 minutes of exercise daily turns into a healthy lifestyle. A short journaling habit turns into emotional mastery. Tiny efforts, done consistently, become unstoppable over years. That's the math of mastery. Most people underestimate what they can do in 5 years and overestimate what they can do in 5 days. That's why consistency beats intensity. The person who trains lightly every day will outperform the one who trains hard once a month. Success belongs to the consistent, not the extreme. The same applies to time. You can't save time. You can only invest it. When you invest consistently in the right direction, your results compound like interest in a high-return account. That's why successful people don't waste time chasing quick wins. They focus on systems that produce predictable progress. Predictable progress compounds into predictable success. They also eliminate the need to feel ready. Waiting to feel ready is the biggest time trap there is. Readiness comes from doing, not waiting. You don't become confident before action. You become confident because of action. Every small act of follow-through builds identity, and identity shapes destiny. The more you act like a disciplined person, the more you become one. The more you think like a focused person, the more focus becomes your default. Identity is built from repeated behavior. You are not what you occasionally do. You are what you consistently do. Successful people know this truth. That's why they don't chase motivation. They chase identity. They ask, what kind of person would achieve this goal? Then they start acting like that person now, even if it feels unnatural at first. Because identity grows through repetition, not imagination. You train yourself into becoming your future self, step by step, day by day, minute by minute. They also understand that discipline creates freedom. Most people see discipline as restriction, but in reality, it's what gives you control over your life. Without discipline, your impulses own you. With discipline, you own your future. When you say no to distractions, you're not missing out. You're taking back control. When you choose structure over chaos, you're not being boring. You're being intentional. Freedom doesn't mean doing whatever you want whenever you want. Freedom means having the ability to do what's right when it matters most. And that freedom is only earned through discipline. The most successful people in the world aren't free because they have money. They're free because they have control over their time. Their days don't control them. They control their days. They've designed a system where their time serves their goals, not their emotions. That's real power, the ability to say, I decide where my time goes. Not social media, not impulses, not other people's expectations, just purpose. And because they control time, they control results. That's the secret most people miss. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. Goals set direction. Systems create results. Anyone can dream big. Few can design consistently. Dreams inspire. Systems deliver. That's why successful people obsess over systems, not motivation speeches, not wishful thinking. They focus on what happens daily, because success is always built daily. Every day you live is a vote for the person you're becoming. The question is, who are you voting for? Successful people delegate and automate to free up mental space because they understand that time and attention are their most valuable resources. They know they cannot afford to spend their days bogged down by repetitive tasks, minor decisions, or responsibilities that others can handle just as well or better. Mental energy is limited in every task, no matter how small, draws from that reserve. To perform at a high level, to make critical decisions, to solve complex problems, they need a clear and focused mind. Delegation and automation are not about doing less. They are about doing more of what matters most. Delegation is a strategic act. Successful people don't delegate just to get rid of tasks. They delegate to maximize effectiveness. They evaluate what must be done personally and what can be handed off to someone else. If a task doesn't require their unique insight, judgment, or creativity, they trust others to take it over. This requires humility, not just efficiency. It means accepting that they don't need to do everything themselves, and that empowering others is a form of strength, not weakness. By giving others responsibility, they not only protect their own bandwidth, but also develop trust and capability within their teams. They also understand that delegation is not abdication. It doesn't mean walking away from accountability. It means creating systems, setting clear expectations, and allowing others to succeed. Whether it's an assistant handling scheduling, a team member managing a project, or a contractor performing technical work, successful people set up frameworks that support clarity and consistency. They invest time up front to ensure others can deliver well, so they don't have to micromanage later. That initial investment pays off repeatedly in regained focus and reduced stress. Alongside delegation, they use automation as a silent partner in their productivity. Technology becomes a tool not just for communication or convenience, but for reclaiming attention. Automating routine tasks such as bill payments, calendar reminders, report generation, email sorting, data entry, or customer follow-up removes the need for human intervention in low-impact decisions. Successful individuals build systems that run without them. They use software, templates, and workflows that remove repetitive friction from their day. They don't reinvent the wheel every time. They set it in motion once and let it roll. Automation also serves a deeper purpose. It preserves decision-making power for high-leverage activities. The human brain can only make a certain number of high-quality decisions each day before fatigue sets in. By automating low-value choices, successful people keep their mental capacity reserved for innovation, leadership, and creativity. Even simple choices like what to wear or when to check emails are streamlined to reduce unnecessary cognitive load. Their goal is to eliminate distractions and interruptions that could dilute their focus from their most important priorities. Mental space is not a luxury. It's a prerequisite for high-level performance. Cluttered minds lead to cluttered results. When successful people clear their schedule of the non-essential, they also clear their mind of the noise that comes with it. They're not racing through tasks. They're thinking clearly, moving deliberately, and working with depth. Delegation and automation act as shields against overload. They create the quiet needed for strategic thought, the time needed for creative exploration, and the energy needed for making impactful decisions under pressure. The ability to delegate and automate also reflects a shift in mindset from being busy to being effective. It signals maturity in leadership and confidence in collaboration. Instead of trying to prove their worth by doing everything, successful people focus on doing the right things. They're not trying to be heroes. They're trying to build systems at scale, processes that run independently, and teams that think and act with ownership. In doing so, they multiply their impact without multiplying their stress. They trade control for clarity, effort for efficiency, and busyness for intentionality. In the end, what sets successful people apart is not more time. It's how they use the same 24 hours everyone else is given. They treat each hour with purpose, designing their days to reflect their long-term vision rather than reacting to the noise around them. Instead of multitasking, they prioritize what truly matters. They build routines that reinforce who they want to become, not just what they feel like doing. They read, study, and learn more than they consume passive entertainment, knowing that knowledge compounds over time. They delegate and automate low-value tasks, freeing their mind to focus on decisions that create impact. And above all, they protect their time like the precious asset it is, spending it where it generates growth, not just motion. Success doesn't come from having more hours. It comes from making better decisions within the hours you have. Every moment either builds toward a future you want or pulls you further from it. The difference is not in intelligence, luck, or background. It's in how consciously the day is lived. Successful people understand that time is life, and how they spend each day is ultimately how they spend their legacy.